Namaste and welcome. It is Rishi here from meditatewithrishi.com, and today I want to share with you a few key lessons from my recent experience of falling ill, being admitted to hospital for the first time ever, and life basically coming to a complete stop because I was on complete bed rest for 2 months. So this experience really brought me face to face with some realities, like how impermanent life is, and some spiritual truths which I want to share with you because I feel like they can really help. Okay, so I'll start by telling you what happened. Right around the end of January, I came back from Delhi, attending a wedding, and I got a stomach bug, which is quite normal. But that lasted a couple of weeks, right, which is quite long. So that was pretty bad, bad stomach. I started getting weaker. And after that, I got intense fever, for which I started taking some medications, one of which, or a couple of which, did not suit me. And they damaged my liver quite significantly, right? So they damaged my liver, and I got jaundice, yellowness in the eyes, yellowness on the face, essentially. So luckily, because I got jaundice, we went straight to the doctors, and he said, let's get some tests done. And we saw that the liver had been quite seriously damaged. Okay, so he said you need to get admitted ASAP, and the first priority is healing the liver, right? Before we can continue with other treatment. So this came as a complete shock, right? Because I've never been admitted to the hospital, never been that sick. I'm fairly healthy in general. And because of the history with my parents being sick, I've always had this aversion to hospitals. So it was a complete shock. And it just wasn't a nice feeling, having to be admitted to hospital. I know it sounds quite normal, but it did come as a complete shock. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with the details, right? What I want to do is to share the lessons, the spiritual lessons that I was forced to learn through this experience and apply, right? Not just apply to make peace with what's happening, but really apply them to make the most out of this experience, okay? So let's get into those. So the first lesson that I was forced to learn is that we are already enough. We are already enough, even if we're sick, right? People have much worse illnesses than what I went through. Even if we're sick, there is nothing wrong with us. Our self-worth it's got nothing to do with our productivity. Just by existing, our true nature, inherently, the Buddha taught, is perfect, and we are enough. So the reason I'm saying this is because one of the most difficult parts of this illness was the fact that I could not do anything. I was on complete strict bed rest for a couple of months, right? I couldn't exercise, I couldn't work, right? Work came to a complete stop, can't make videos, I had to cancel all my coaching calls. I couldn't meditate sitting down because I didn't have the energy. I lost 11 kilos in literally like 10, 14 days. So complete bed rest, right? In order for the liver to heal, which it heals naturally, we needed to allow it to happen in the right conditions, right? Providing the body rest and liquid diet followed by boiled vegetables, essentially. So very, very slowly, we had to let the body just be and heal on its own. So I couldn't do anything, and you know how it is, right? In this modern world, even though I practice so much meditation and teach it, there's still a bit of attachment to work, right? Our self-worth is attached to how productive we are, how much we do, essentially. So this experience of not being able to do anything, in fact, forget not being able to do anything, being totally dependent on others for everything, like my food and medication and everything. It was a completely new experience, right? And it really forced me to. I realized that if I'm going to make peace with this, then I need to be able to be okay doing nothing, and maybe find ways to feel happy doing nothing, right? So this forced me to really come back to the Buddha's teachings. I started reading this book called When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. And in it, she keeps speaking about the teaching of the Buddha, that we are already whole and complete, right? Our true nature has everything. It has all the goodness, awareness, love, compassion, wisdom. Inherently, we are already perfect, right? This is what the Buddha taught. And she says that as long as we keep on believing that there is somewhere better to be or someone better to become, we're never going to be able to completely relax into who we really are and recognize our true nature. So she's saying that essentially happiness, ultimately enlightenment, cannot come until we keep believing that our happiness will come from outside things, because it's not outside we need to be looking. The true nature is already within, which is inherently perfect, right? It's the diamond which has been covered by the mud. And the way to uncover it is basically to turn inward and create a state of peace, of stillness, right? So this illness really provided me the opportunity to do just that. It wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't easy, but I tried. And I tried really hard because I had no other choice. I had no other choice. So did it help? 2 months of doing nothing. Did it help? Absolutely. I can say that it definitely reduced my need to go and just get things done, right? It's definitely slowed me down even more, which I'm really happy with. Another great thing that I realized is that the people around me, they don't care how much I work. They don't care how productive I am. In fact, they were really happy. Like my wife was really happy that I'm not working because I was available. I was available, and I could spend time with her, and I just had so much space, right? So we often have this idea that our, again, self-worth is tied to productivity. The more we do, the more people are going to like us. No, the people that really love you don't care how productive you are or how much you work, right? They don't. And that was a nice lesson to really experience. So essentially, me being on bed rest for 2 months made me realize that, you know what? The world didn't end. The world did not end, right? It's a great way of realizing how unimportant we are. We take life so seriously, but ultimately, we're born, we come here for a bit, and then we die, right? And this has been happening for eons and eons. It's just not that big a deal. Life is not that serious. And this was a great way of experiencing that and learning that and just being a bit more chilled out. Now I feel like I can come back to work and create content and, into coaching from a place of much more ease and relaxation, and just not taking things that seriously, and being grateful for health and just life, essentially. Okay, so that's the first lesson that I learned. Let's get to the second one. So the second lesson was really feeling on a personal level that life is impermanent. Literally in a snap of a finger, anything can happen. We can die, right? The doctor said that I was really lucky to have healed and recovered so quickly, because it could very well have gone the other way, right? The liver could not have healed and led to more complications, essentially. And, while I was ill, I was thinking that even if things went the other way, if I did not heal and I died, actually, it wouldn't be that big a deal, because people die every day. People die every day, right? I think a big part of the spiritual path is coming face to face with death and becoming really comfortable with the idea of death, because it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. So this was a nice way to see that, what's actually important in my life. So I began asking the question, if I were to die today, right, do I have regrets in life? What have I still not done? And in the past couple of years, I've been spending a lot of time, as you know, if you watch my videos, on healing broken relationships. So I've made peace with actually all relationships, and I'm really happy with where they are. The only thing that I thought to myself was, have I done enough spiritual practice, right? Because, the Buddha taught that our next rebirth ultimately is very dependent on our present life's actions, our karma, and the state of our mind at the time of death. Are we feeling feelings? Are we feeling negative emotions like anger, like resentment, like attachment, like dreams not being fulfilled, or are we in a positive state? Are we feeling content? Do we feel love for others? Do we have kindness in our heart? And do we just have this peace and gratitude for life and this happiness to let it go when the time comes, right? That state of mind is really important when, especially at the moment of passing away, the moment of death. The thoughts we are thinking while we're dying have a tremendous effect on our rebirth. I've just been reading the Tibetan book of Living and Dying, and it talks about this in great detail, right? So the whole point is that our entire life should be training us for that moment of death, which is our spiritual practice, right? The spiritual practice, in simple terms, is purifying all our negative thoughts, emotions, habits, and transforming them into peaceful, happy, loving thoughts, emotions, and habits, right? So that's spiritual practice in a nutshell. And I said to myself that this is the most important thing, right? Our spiritual practice is what we take away with us, the only thing we take with us when we die. Nothing else. No money, no relative, no property, no nothing. It's only the spiritual practices that we've done, how much we have expanded our heart and purified our mind, essentially. This is what we take with us. So I made a conscious decision that yes, I already, practice meditation every single day, but really integrating that into the whole day. Every moment, every interaction with somebody, is there kindness there? Is there openness there? Is there, non-judgment there, right? Integrating, bringing that meditation off the cushion into daily life, into every interaction. And I just made a conscious decision that this is what I want to do, and, consciously be more aware and just become loving and just become a nicer person as much as I can. That's the whole point, right? That's why we're here. What I'm saying is really summed up well in this quote, which you may have heard. It says that in the end, the only thing that matters is how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of the things that were not meant for you, right? How amazing is that? The point of our life is to essentially purify our negativity and become more loving, become more open, become more compassionate, essentially. So that was the second lesson from this experience. Now let's get to the third and final lesson. So the third lesson that I learned was that we are super dependent on others. This experience brought the Buddha's teaching of interdependence to life. In the West, we live with this false idea that we are independent, right? Everyone wants to be independent. We think that we can do everything on our own, that our success is our own merit, all these things. And this, it leads to selfish thinking that we are independent, which is why, again, there is this tradition of when people are old and dying, they're left alone, put into an old age home, because they're no longer of use to society, right? This comes from that thinking of me, we're independent. The same people who breastfed us, who changed our nappies, when they get to a stage in life that they need similar help, we discard them. Being in the hospital bed was very humbling. I was helped by over 8 to 10 different nurses and doctors. So many family members coming to see me, to bring different things. Literally 15 to 20 people were involved in the process of me just being in hospital and healing for a few days. The thought of that, it blew my mind that, here I am, this person who normally thinks I'm so independent. In a second, I've been brought to this situation where I'm dependent on all these people, just to get through this process. That was super humbling. I realized that my healing and recovery happened so quickly, only thanks to my wife, who, in the shortest span of words, she took care of every single part of the process. My medication, staying on top of appointments with doctors, staying on top of every single meal, cooking it herself, everything, the love, the most important thing, making me feel like it was okay if I did not recover. If it took me 100 years to recover, she made me feel like that's totally okay. Like she'll take care of me. That's incredible. So the point is, like, we're super dependent on other people. We're not independent. It's an illusion. It's a false notion. We're not independent. We're totally dependent on others, and this is why our relationships are so important. Also, it made me realize how many relationships I neglect because I'm busy, right? People that do want to be a part of my life in some way. So this experience made me make a really, again, conscious decision that I want to just live with more ease and presence, and not work that much, and take things easy, and focus at least a little more on relationships, right? The ones that I've been neglecting, or the ones that want to have a conversation once in a while. Really be present for that, because that's what life is about, right? Sharing love with other people. I know how, it makes me realize how much more important it is to give someone a call when they're not doing well, or they're going through something that's a bit tough. Just one phone call from someone can lift their spirits. Just like the people that came to meet me in the hospital, it really lifted my spirits. I felt like I was just hanging out with some friends. So yeah, this is basically it, right? These are the lessons that I wanted to share with you, just to kind of recap them. The first lesson is that you are already enough as you are. Your self-worth does not come from your productivity or how successful you are. So just relax, chill out, and let's focus on being just calm, loving people. That's really what matters, okay? The second lesson is that life is impermanent and death can come at any time. So prioritize your spiritual practice, which is basically purifying your mind, your thoughts and your emotions, becoming calmer, becoming more loving. This is the essence of why you have taken birth on this earth. And number 3 is that we are super dependent on others. Relationships are really important for our happiness, our well-being. So let's make more time, a little more time, to give time to the people that love and care about us. Okay, so there you have it. These are the 3 lessons that I learned, and I really hope that they help in some way. Again, I'm very conscious of the fact that the illness I had is nothing compared to more serious illnesses that other people have. Yet something so small has taught me so much by bringing things to life. So I wanted to share this with you. Okay, awesome. And if you are new to this channel, then I want to let you know that I do offer one-to-one coaching. The first part of it is teaching meditation, right? So I started teaching this program called Freedom Within, which is a step-by-step way of learning meditation. There's a couple of levels of the program. And what I found along the way is that people that come to learn meditation don't only want to learn meditation. Sometimes they also want to discuss some tricky life areas that they may be going through, either just to clear the mind and be heard, but sometimes also to get a fresh perspective, a spiritual perspective on the problems and how to handle them in a nice way, right? So if you feel like one-to-one coaching can help you, then you're very welcome to book a friendly chat with me. You can do that on the website, which is meditatewithrishi.com. But yeah, apart from that, I really hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Okay? Namaste.